filtering out people that you probably don't even want to work with. Because if they're not willing to spend the money, then that's probably not someone that you really want to work with. Those people that aren't bringing you in the kind of money that you would like to be making, but take up most of your time. What I did that's a little different on my website, and is very controversial, I'll say, is I posted the services and how much the fees are. So that someone would go to my website, they would contact me, I might have a call with them and do sort of an intake and find out what it is they're looking for. But I already have the prices on my website, especially for bookkeeping, because so many bookkeepers just underprice themselves, and they really want to make sure they get the due that they deserve, because they're really the foundation and the linchpin of a business. It's so important to have a really good bookkeeper. And so that way I match them up with people that come on my team as a service provider. And so then I'll record the call I have with the individual looking for the bookkeeping or accounting or, special projects or fractional work. And then they can see the Zoom call, and then they can connect with them. And it eliminates that whole conversation around, what does it cost? And it also is a way of filtering out people that you probably don't even want to work with. So, to be honest, because if they're not willing to spend the money to, which is not that much money, for heaven's sakes, then that's probably not someone that you really want to work with. It's that whole 80-20 thing. So, it's those people that aren't bringing you in the kind of money that you would like to be making, but take up most of your time. Okay. So Tristan has a comment on my thoughts.
I think anytime we do anything specific that's different, it is always good, because it actually gives a chance to see, like, are people noticing what's happening? It's an agitator, you need something to activate. And if it can be something that will disqualify people, you are saving yourself so much time in meetings who aren't going to hire you, and you're going to try selling them. And that's just so much emotional weight. Look, this is what it costs, and no one else is telling you this. People who are going to pay for it are going to hire me, and people who think they can find a cheaper solution are going to find out why they can't actually find prices. You might find a cheaper rate, but how messy is the bookkeeping of, like, the accounting on the provider's hours? Like, you're saying you're working 30 hours, but I can only find this much. Are you just trying to make X amount a week and say you charge less? So I think everything about that is great. There's no downside, because you won't lose any. There's no wins that get lost from that technique.
Right.
And it definitely captures attention.
Definitely. Anybody else have some thoughts on it? Yep.
I have some thoughts, kind of a question for Tristan. Tristan, are you saying that you're looking for an emotional trigger? Is that a proper phrase to use what you're describing?
I'm looking to capture someone's attention. Emotions are always going to be an easy one. So I wasn't necessarily saying go for that. What I'm saying is do not be scared to make a change that's different from everyone else, because in that difference, it will capture attention. And that is a type of emotion that you're like, ooh, what's this? Novelty. Why is it different? Something that actually gets them to not just scroll. Like Scott, he might go through 3 websites, read all their services, but I bet you when he goes here and sees the prices, he's going to read what the services actually depict. Because up until this, someone's just saying, ooh, I do books, I do accounting, I do tax. Well, those are very wide statements. But Ina has, we do this at this rate, we do this at this rate. And there are a lot of people who really want that information. I don't want to talk to her to find that out. I want to know if I'm willing to pay for it, and then talk to her to see if I want to pay her specifically for that.
Anik, you had something to say?
Yeah, sort of on the topic of disqualifying clients. I use my intake form, my contact me form on my website for that. But also, like, over the course of building my business, somebody was talking about how most of the time the people who are looking for the lowest rates are also the ones who are looking for the most attention. They want the most hand-holding. We got to chase them down to get answers. They're not collaborative. They're not proactive. They are not willing participants, right? And so one of the biggest things that I tell people, especially in the bookkeeping industry, usually at the 3 to 5 year mark, they're overworked and underpaid because they're not charging enough, right? So you move your rates from hourly to monthly based on like 1.5 of the average of what your client has been paying you. So you give yourself a 50% rate increase, guaranteed monthly income, and you will lose, if you're a good bookkeeper, you will lose less than 20% of your clients, but you just jacked up your prices by 50%. So you're working less and getting paid more. There's so many different ways of disqualifying, and service providers, especially the first 10 years in business, we undercharge, especially the first 5. We spend the next 5 trying to adjust, and then at the 10-year mark, you flush out all the ones that have stayed with you and still have grandfathered in rates, but it's this weird place. And then there's like the dichotomy of wanting to help our clients, but still we're the business owners and we got to charge rates that reflect the value of what we bring to the table, right? And I like to tell my clients that are like, oh, I'm going to have to figure out where to cut back expenses. No, let's figure out how to make more money. Let's not, I hate the approach of where can we cut our expenses, because it's like, you're literally scarcity mindset, it's a hell of a lot easier because most of us are running on minimal expenses anyway, right? True. So let's find ways to get more business instead without increasing our expenses, except for the relative subscription costs and stuff like that a new client represents. Anyway, definitely. I just love the whole topic of like all the different ways of disqualifying a client.
Yeah, great. Karen, you have some comments? Am I still here?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Karen, did you have something you wanted to say? Why don't we come back to Karen? So, Tristan, why don't we go to you?
It was actually just an aside to what Nick said. If I was selling bookkeeping services and someone asked me, man, I really need to figure out how to conserve some money, how would you even do this? You have no idea where your money's going. You would literally be guessing. How do you know you're not going to hurt yourself or get rid of something that seems like you're saving money, getting rid of it because it's an expense, but you like just that itself made me laugh. I'm like, well, you should definitely hire a bookkeeper so you can know what you can actually afford to get rid of. Otherwise, you're just choosing what you don't like or what you feel. It all ends up being an emotional, not long-term, no strategy decision. So yeah, that's pretty funny. Someone talking to a bookkeeper like, yeah, I need to figure out a way to cut these bills to pay you. Well, hire me first and you'll probably find out way quicker.
Right. And cutting expenses like that and laying people off is just not a sustainable way to manage your business. It just doesn't make sense. And so Anika's very right that it's all about how much you charge and what the volume of your sales are. So, that's what it's all about. So you can only trim so much. So yeah.
Love the prices being on the internet, because sometimes you don't want to spend all day and night trying to figure out, do you fit or not? And many people who are looking for a service know what they need and know what they can afford. And by having the prices there, do I need to spend a little time more working with Tristan? I take it out that mystery. It shouldn't be a game.
Right. And, there can be opportunities for, I don't like to use the word upselling, but, that, you have your basic business, but then, there's going to be other things that you do, like Anik does, a lot of different things. And so, and I can as well. So one of the things I have on my website is if someone has a project or something, that you can pay X dollars for it and we'll get your project done in X number of weeks or months. And then the very last thing, that I always say is then we should always look into what a future working together might look like, if that makes sense. Once you establish that rapport, because people really want to work with people that they trust, not only that they like, but that they trust.